right, Matt, it is time to fire up the 5-minute timer for our main event, UFC Rio Rancho, coming at you from none other than, Rio Rancho, New Mexico. And in our main event, it's at 205 pounds between Corey Anderson, beast in 25-8, overtime, the man on a 4-fight win streak who knocked out the biggest up-and-comer, or one of the biggest up-and-comers that we've had in the division in Johnny Walker in his last fight, and put the whole division on blast. And then he wanted the title shot. He didn't get it. Dominic Reyes got it. Fell short, or did he?
You don't really call it landing or falling short if you land on your feet, but still, that's a story for another time.
Now he's taking on Jan Blachowicz, and let's look at their records over the past 7 fights. Jan Blachowicz is 6-1. The one loss to Thiago Santos, who ended up getting a title shot. And with Corey Anderson 5-2, and we go back. Let's go back to his first fight of the 7. In 2016, he fought Sean O'Connell, and he beat him, and he did very well in that fight. And let's look at the odds for this fight, because in the Sean O'Connell fight, he was a minus 400 favorite. He hasn't been that big of a favorite, and he's barely been a favorite in the preceding fights until this one. He is a minus 220 favorite compared to Jan Blachowicz plus 175, which that does surprise me because Jan Blachowicz does a lot of things well. That's the thing. Corey Anderson all of a sudden has a lot of power that we've seen in that Johnny Walker fight, and he did in the Sean O'Connell fight.
Okay, but Sean O'Connell's not a top caliber opponent whatsoever, and Johnny Walker had too many question marks going into that fight. I think I'll let the cat out of the bag a little. I do think Corey Anderson's likely to win this fight, but not due to the fact that he knocked out Johnny Walker or due to the fact that he knocked out Sean O'Connell. The only way Corey Anderson is going to win this fight, and not the only way, but it's by far the more likely. A pillow-fisted wrestler is going to face a really, really dangerous striker who doesn't have good cardio. 99.9% of the time, unless the guy who's a really good striker knocks him out in the first round, it's going to be a wrestle effing. And I say that with all due respect, because Corey Anderson is a really good wrestler. And I am very much of the mindset, if you don't like when a guy's taking you down, get better takedown defense. It's not his fault that he's able to implement his game more than you're able to implement your own. Jan Blachowicz, as we've seen, though, is an extremely dangerous striker. And it's kind of funny, too, because when you look at the Rockhold fight, Rockhold kind of fought him how you would imagine Corey Anderson's going to try to fight him. Went real wrestling heavy, shot a lot of double legs near the cage, but Jan was really good at delivering damage while he defended the takedowns, and that's something he's going to have to do in this fight. If you were able to stuff a Corey Anderson takedown, you got to make him pay for it right away, because you need to sort of persuade him to stop going for them, because if not, he's going to spam takedown attacks the whole entire fight. And against Jan Blachowicz, we've seen it before. This is a rematch. And a lot of people probably don't remember their first fight, but it went kind of how I'm playing this one out to go. Corey Anderson, very wrestling heavy, was able to hold Jan down and just sort of deplete his power bar as the fight went over.
If Corey Anderson's going to get a win here, all he has to do is what Jacare Souza did in Jan Blachowicz's last 5-round fight. All Jacare did in that fight was pressure, but when he pressured, he wasn't able to do anything with it. And yeah, a lot of people picked Jacare as the winner of that fight. Of course, it went down as a split for Blachowicz. But in a 5-round fight like that, you can't perform like Blachowicz did. You have to make him pay when he goes in for those. And we didn't see that from him. Now, in fights past, of course, the Luke Rockhold fight, his striking was definitely on point. In the fight against Nikita Krylov, you always have to worry that Krylov's going to be fishing for a takedown and submission, and in that fight, Jan Blachowicz, perfect game plan. Against Jimmy Manuwa, perfect game plan. When Corey Anderson's fought pure strikers, it hasn't possibly looked great, except for the Walker fight, but when he fought OSP or when he fought Manuwa, definitely didn't go his way. When he fought Shogun, Matt likes to talk about that fight, definitely didn't go his way. But lately, he's been able to be more consistent, and if you can bring that type of consistency into a fight like this against Jan Blachowicz, I think, yeah, there's a definite way that he can pull away a victory.
And one of the biggest fights, or what I consider the biggest win of Corey Anderson's record, is that Glover Teixeira fight. It wasn't the most exciting fight by any means, but he did kind of the classic Corey Anderson game plan. I'm going to out-volume you, and I'm going to out-takedown you. And really, other than the kicks that Jan has, he fights very similar to Glover Teixeira. Very boxing heavy. Jan does throw more leg kicks, and they'll go for the head kick. But they're both pretty good at jiu-jitsu. They're pretty good at wrestling, and they're good boxers. And Corey Anderson just kind of has that style that always gives guys like that trouble. Other than the Jim Manuwa fight, of course, but Manuwa was able to put him out quick, and OSP was able to sort of just hit him with a crazy head kick. So
let's look at this in one other way. So you have Corey Anderson, you have Jan Blachowicz. If Corey Anderson wins, title implications?
Here's the thing. I think that John Jones is going to lose within the next year and a half, probably year, if I'm being honest, just based off his last few performances. I think if Israel moves up, Israel lights him on fire. I think if John moves up to fight Stipe, these are hot takes, but sometimes you got to give them. If John moves up to fight Stipe, Stipe is going to put him to sleep. Here's my problem. John's a good wrestler and a good kickboxer. He doesn't have great boxing. We saw that in the Dominic Reyes fight. And Corey Anderson, even if he wins this one, which is more likely than not to happen, I don't see him beating John Jones. And there's just sort of this big logjam right now. Does John move up? Does Israel move up? Is he going to get a rematch with either Santos or Dominic Reyes? There's so many question marks that I'm not really able to say that, yes, the winner of this is going to get the next title shot.
Who's more likely to get a title shot with a win? Would you see it as Jan Blachowicz, a guy who, like we said, 6-1 in his last 7, the only loss to a future title challenger in Thiago Santos, or Corey Anderson, who, again, he would have more wins. He'd have a 5-fight win streak versus Blachowicz's 3. What's more in play here, and who's more likely to get a shot?
I think it comes down to the outcome, not just to who wins, but how they do win. And it's unfortunate when you say that, but that has been the knock against Corey Anderson his whole entire career. Up until the Johnny Walker fight, he's been one of the more boring fighters to watch. And I don't mean that with disrespect, but Chael Sonnen said one of my favorite quotes in all of MMA, and he said, "No one has ever said, oh no, I can't go out on Saturday night, Corey Anderson's fighting." And I thought that was so funny. And it does really ring true. In this fight, he's probably going to win. I think he's going to win by decision. Let's say he takes down Blachowicz over and over and gets like a TKO in the 4th round with ground and pound. There's a good chance he would be next in line for the title shot. But if he just goes out there and wrestle, and just does enough to get the victory, I don't think he's going to do enough in the public's opinion to get that John Jones fight. But I'm definitely picking Corey Anderson by decision. The 5-round fight plays perfectly into his style, too.
Yeah, and the other thing that's very interesting, I mean, Corey Anderson, he's only 30 years old. He's had a fair amount of fights in the UFC, definitely less fights total than Jan Blachowicz. But Jan Blachowicz, 36, almost 37 years old, former KSW light heavyweight champ. I mean, their champ now, Tomasz Narkun, put him in the UFC. That'd be a lot of fun.
He wouldn't pass a drug
test.
But
no, he wouldn't. But in this one, it is a lot of fun. It's a fun matchup, and it really gets us going. I'd like to know what people are thinking out there as far as predictions are concerned. But Matt, I believe we're both going with Corey Anderson
by
here.
decision as well.
Yeah, same here.
Now, here's the thing, though. Jan could spark Corey Anderson in the first round. I'm not saying he couldn't hit him with a knee or an uppercut or something. Jan has a path to victory. It's just not nearly as open as Corey Anderson's.
Both taking Corey Anderson, but you're not going to want to miss the rest of our predictions for UFC Rio Rancho. It's a very interesting card, so find those over there. Drop us a like, drop us a sub, help us out, and more importantly, enjoy the fights with Fight Night Picks on YouTube, Matt. As we always say, let's get into